Welcome back. Thank you for being tuned in. 26 grass tennis courts, swanky resident cottages nestled in a 27-acre complex right in the heart of Lutyens Delhi. A place only less than 0.1% of India can go to in their lifetime. The Delhi Gymkhana Club, one of the places that defined high life in Delhi, a club that has existed since the pre-independence times but only has 1,200 members to this day. So it takes as much as even 20 to 30 years of wait just to become a member of the Delhi Gymkhana Club. Just about 100 memberships are opened up every year to fill up for deaths and resignations. It's not even about how much money you have. It's a club where your connections and social standing mattered more than anything else. For over a century, the Delhi Gymkhana has followed the 40-40-20 rule for membership. 40% to the civil servants, 40% to defense services, and 20% to the others. So for years, membership in the Delhi Gymkhana Club also signaled that the person has arrived into an elite social circle. But by then, there are also critics who say that the club still reeks of an imperial mindset that only serves the privileged elite. But today, the Delhi Gymkhana Club has been asked to vacate its premises. Is this the end of an era? The government has said that it needs to use the space for defense infrastructure. The Gymkhana Club has sought clarity from the government on several issues and has sought a meeting with the officials of the Housing Ministry. While some have called this a move that would amount to losing the capital's culture and heritage, there are also others who say that national interests must be kept at the forefront. Today, this elite club is facing an existential threat and one that could change the face of entire Lutyens Delhi, especially for the rich and the powerful. In fact, it has also escalated into a major political and cultural flashpoint. Here's why.
जब से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार आई है, इन्होंने तब से सिर्फ उजाड़ा ही है, बसाया तो किसी को नहीं। अभी तक गरीब लोगों का नंबर आया हुआ था, तो अमीरों को ज्यादा तकलीफ नहीं थी। उसके बाद दुकानदारों का नंबर आया, तो नौकरी वालों को तकलीफ नहीं थी। अब क्लब में जाने वाले बड़े बड़े अधिकारियों और बड़े बड़े प्रोफेशनल्स का नंबर आया है, तो नंबर तो सबका आएगा। और जब आपको दूसरे की तकलीफ में तकलीफ नहीं है, तो आपकी तकलीफ में दूसरों को तकलीफ नहीं है। और इसी तरीके से जो सरकार है अपनी मनमानी करेगी।
तो एलीट क्लास के लोग हैं, इनके बारे में मुझे गरीब आदमियों की बात करिए मुझसे। ये एलीट क्लास के लोग हैं, इनसे क्या होना है? जिमखाना से क्या हो रहा है? जिमखाना में क्या है? जिमखाना भाई, ये एलीट क्लास लोगों के चोचले हैं, इसके अलावा कुछ है इसके अंदर?
So here is what the government has said is the reason for reclaiming the land. Now, they say that the land is needed for critical national security, but there are some who argue that it could lead to a livelihood crisis for 600 plus staff members who have been part of the Gymkhana for so long. Then there are the government backers who say that the government can exercise lease re-entry rights. There's no violation that we're looking at. So what's the problem? But some also argue that it wipes out a historic, a very cultural part of Delhi, and it shouldn't be done. Now, there are many who have also questioned why this land, the public property, should serve elite clubs. What is the reason for it? Should it be allowed or not? But there are many who say that this sudden eviction lacks the due process. Suddenly a notice has been given. They've been asked to evict immediately. June 5th is the date that has been given. Some are also questioning whether this is right or not. Let's tell you what the government backers are saying. They say that it is a takeover to address the mismanagement at the club. There have been some complaints and there should not be any objection to it. But there are others who also say that the claim that the government has made, remember the government has said that it is also critical for national security. So many say that this claim of a security threat is not really convincing, that the government just wants to take over that land. There are many who also say that it integrates the land with the central government projects. Remember, this club is very, very close to the Prime Minister's residence as well. So the government backers have also pointed out how that entire region is very important for security and it should be taken up. But some have also said that there are precedents previously as well and it is unconvincing, it is unacceptable. So the question really is, Should the government prioritize national security by evicting the century-old Delhi Gymkhana Club to secure the Prime Minister's residential zone? Or does reclaiming this historic, over 27-acre heritage institution destroy a very vital piece of the city's cultural legacy and elite community space? Is this a necessary defense measure or an unjustified state overreach? Joining us on the broadcast, Tushar Gupta, political analyst, Suhail Seth, columnist, and Suresh Goyal, former secretary, MEA, and also a member General Committee of the Gymkhana Club. And I want to begin with you, Mr. Suresh Goyal, by asking you, what is your stand on this? Do you think it is overreach by the government, or do you think that this is justified because it is in an area where security is of utmost concern?
Thank you very much. Good questions, really. When you say security, the Prime Minister's residence is going to move from there. I mean, it's all over the newspapers that a separate complex has been created, built for the PM's residence behind the earlier South Block, and they are going to move from the existing place. So if the PM's residence is going to move from there, where is the question of security? And if the PM's residence is going to move from there, where is the question of shortage of property really for any purpose that the government may want to see? That is one just a small side question that comes to my mind. What actually is happening really is, I think, as you might have seen from the remarks from various people, there is a kind of a notion, a confusion, that it is an elitist institution with a colonial kind of a background. And therefore, with a changing kind of politics of the country, such institutions have no place in India. And that is where we are actually getting there. We are suffering. On the other hand, if you look at the history of the club, Gymkhana Club, more than 100 years old, it has transitioned from the earlier colonial institution into a completely Indian ethos. I mean, if you go to the club today, you cannot make any distinction from a normal Indian kind of a place, number one. Number two, it's a place where elitism is not the issue, but it is a collection of the best that India can give. You have the tennis court there, you have the sportsmen there. We have given some of the best tennis players to the country, the squash players.
Yeah, right.
We have organized the literary, and Mr. Suhail Seth is there. He never came to our literary festivals. Maybe he thought we were too elitist. But I know many of your friends.
A government officer
Okay, let me bring in Suhail Seth, because some are also asking 27 acres of prime land at the heart of Delhi. Why should it be used for recreation?
This man is talking.
No,
This man is talking. 1 minute. This man is talking rubbish because I spoke at the first Delhi Literature Festival organized by Urmila
all
Gupta.
right.
That's how much knowledge he has. That is why
sorry,
they're
I'm
not
wrong. Okay,
elitist.
fine.
Not wrong.
All right.
You make stupid allegations without
So,
verifying facts because
I'm
you
not
think
going
you're being
to- I'm
smart.
not going to use-
With me,
I'm
not
1 minute,
going to
Mr.
use the
Goyal.
language.
Mr.
Okay,
Goyal.
Mr. Suhail Seth,
I'm
let's
not
be
going
calm. Let's have a civil debate, and let me ask you on what your arguments are. You're against
No,
it.
1 minute.
So why do you think there are many who are raising these
No, no,
objections?
1
They've
minute.
also
Let me
spoken
finish.
to how
Let me
this club
finish.
is very
A
exclusionary.
senior-
Make your points
1
on
minute.
why you think this is going to affect the culture of Delhi. Why do you think that the government should not make this move?
I'm coming to that
Since
part.
you're the anchor,
I'm
you've
coming
called
to
me.
that
Let me
part.
speak.
Yes,
Now
Mr.
let me
Suhail
speak.
Seth. Okay, let Mr.
My
Suhail Seth
worry-
respond. Mr. Suresh
my
Goyal will
worry
come back
and
to you.
the
Let Mr.
greatest-
Suhail Seth respond on why the government may have made a wrong move with this one.
I don't know. Listen, Mr. Goyal, I have a lot of respect for. I don't know him, but he's been in the government. He's been the MEA. And people like right from Mr. Rasgotra to Natwar Singh, who's passed, have been my friends and are continuing to be. To make a silly comment, in my mind, and I say it with respect, oh, Suhail Seth has not come. He thinks we are elitist. Why do you say things like that, yeah? This is where the problem with Delhi Gymkhana Club is. You yourself don't know, as a committee member, who spoke in your first literature festival, along with Pavan Verma. You have no idea. Now let me tell you my take on this issue. Number one, Suresh Goyal, if that is, as he said, he's a member of the committee, he's absolutely right. There is nothing elitist about Delhi
Mr.
Gymkhana
Suresh
Club.
Goyal, I can see you want to speak up. I'll come back to you. But let's keep our debate not to this personal banter, but let's keep it to what the issue is. Mr. Suhail Seth, I'll request you as well. Please, let's talk about why many believe... Okay, let's keep it about why many believe that this is a wrong move, that this affects the culture of Delhi. Yes, go on.
If you allow me to finish and ask...
Yes, Mr. Suresh Goyal, I'll come back to you. Just give me a moment. I'll come back to you. Just give me a moment. Yes, go on.
So let me tell you.
Yes.
I agree with Suresh. There is nothing elitist with Delhi Gymkhana. Nothing. It is a club that exists like all clubs across India exist. It is irrelevant and illogical to say when it was founded, when it transitioned. I agree with him. There is nothing elitist. The problem is the government has invoked a clause of national security. Before that, it had invoked an issue of mismanagement. In 1985, the SPG first flagged off security concerns about Delhi Gymkhana. Now you have two people who you put in your opening remarks, Saurabh Bharadwaj and what's his name, Imran Masood. Saurabh Bharadwaj is talking about, that Delhi Gymkhana is for the rich. Actually, Delhi Gymkhana is not for the rich. Aam Aadmi Party is for the rich. Arvind Kejriwal constructed a Sheesh Mahal. The next gentleman is from the Congress, Imran Masood. Rahul Gandhi is a member of the club. How can Imran Masood say ye अमीरों के चोचले हैं? भाई आप पहले राहुल गांधी को पूछिए ना, अगर वो अमीर के चोचले नहीं है तो उन्होंने membership क्यों ली है? But here's my point with Delhi Gymkhana. I believe, and I'm a member of all clubs in Calcutta because I was born and raised there. My only issue with Delhi Gymkhana is that it is too tightly knit in its membership approach. B, because it's an 80-20, means 40-40-20, there is an issue. My third issue is when they are charging the kind of money they are now charging, to be fair, you cannot get away by paying 1,000 rupees, is what I've heard on Twitter, 1,000 rupees as rent per annum. I don't know if that is true or not. This is what X has said. My third point is that there have been claims of mismanagement. Now, Mr. Goyal is on the committee. He would know better than any one of us whether there are... Let me finish here. Why do you keep interrupting? This is a debate. This is not some sloganeering. My point here is that if there are issues of mismanagement, you don't shut down the club. You shut down the committee. The problem here is now a lot of issues are being raised by pro and anti lobby. Please do not make this out to be an issue of elitism. Clubs by nature are not elite. What you can buy, whether it is bread or food that you can get in Delhi Gymkhana, which by the way is of first-rate order to my mind, because I'm comparing it to a club. To shut it down and say on May 22 that please return the property to us by June 5 is a bit unfair on the membership of the Delhi Gymkhana, number one. Number two, please remember that a lot of people of Delhi Gymkhana are retired administrative officers who always had limited salaries. They did not have the splurging spend capacity of people in other professions. B, they have reciprocity with clubs. What will happen to that? What will happen to members who have just become members or paid corporate membership rates? What will happen to that? My belief is that the government should, to my mind, do the following. Number one, point out the national security issues and then ask Delhi Gymkhana, can they recalibrate, reorient, and reassess the 27-acre plot? Number two, if there are persistent issues of management, this is ironic because the government's administrator has been running the club for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been told. So, in my belief, to just shut down a club is not right. The only problem here, and Mr. Goyal can bear me out, is I don't think any court in India will favor the club when the government says it is for national security.
Yes, and that's where the biggest question comes in. And I want to bring in Tushar Gupta on this. If the club has coexisted very securely next to the Prime Minister's residence for decades together, why is it suddenly a threat? And can such a perceived threat invalidate this lease on heritage land? Because that sets a very wrong precedent.
All right, let's take a few points. First, the club is managed privately. If it's elite, if its membership is reserved to a few individuals, if it takes 30 years or 30 lakh rupees to get there, that's none of the government's business. It's a private members operated club. My problem with the club is not that it is elite or not. That's irrelevant to the larger debate. The fact that it is on government land, that it was a perpetual lease even 100 years ago, that is a fact that you cannot sort of ignore. Across these years, a lot of the stakeholders in the club have negotiated with a lot of the governments, not just Modi government, but a lot of governments in the past that also include the Congress governments, that the perpetual lease should be translated into a freehold. That has happened to a few properties in the Lutyens zones, a few residential properties, but that has not happened to this 27-acre property. Yes, its real estate values today 50,000 crore rupees, for which you pay 1,000 rupees as an annual rent, but that's also irrelevant to the debate. The fact is that even today, it was on perpetual lease. The owner of the land was always the government of India. The people managing this club, the people signing up for this club, the people having any sort of arrangement with this club knew that this was on government land. Now, that is located next to the Prime Minister's residence. It's true.
Okay.
That the government can take it back. It's true. So I don't think where it becomes an issue of elitism, I don't think it's an issue of elitism. I think it's a simple land issue, that a landowner now wants his land back and the tenant has to vacate it. Yes, the tenant was there for more than 100 years, but even then, that does not become their property. It still is the government's property. The sentimental value to it, I completely understand. You cannot discard the sentimental value one attaches to the club, but the legality here is where the club finds itself in a tight spot.
Okay, so Mr. Goyal, there is sentiment attached to it. Yes, there is a lot of history to it as well, but if land is genuinely required for defense purposes, can it be denied?
But hasn't been established. There has been no argument given as to what kind of security purposes for which you need the land. And if you need the land, there is plenty of land over there, number one. Number two, if this is the only property you want for the security purposes, what happens to all the residencies of the various ministers, various members of parliament who are living on the Safdarjung Road? What happens to the Gandhi Smriti? What happens to the Indira Gandhi Smriti over there right next door, where the 20 buses are parked every day, really? It's not, if there is a security issue, I will go with it. But they have to explain what the security issue is. In case it is not a security issue, then we have to go by what the cultural value.
And Tushar, has there been a haste in this? Because you slap a notice now and within a week or two, they've been asked to vacate.
1 minute. Mr. Goyal is on point, and I've said this in my opening remarks. It is ridiculously short notice. Ridiculously short. See, the problem with the media, with due respect, and not just, other than Times Now, let's say, the problem is we are making this out to be a rich versus poor debate. It is the silliest argument. It is not about the rich versus the poor. It is about precedence. It is about convenience. It is about respecting a club's rights. Tushar says that the club is privately run. All clubs are. They have a committee. The committee is elected by members. If you're a member, you can vote. If you're not a member, go home. All clubs
But this is on prime land in the heart of Delhi. And that's where the problem comes in, Mr. Seth.
No.
Yes, Tushar, very quickly. We're running out of time. Very quickly.
No. I said it's a private members club. So the management of the club or the mismanagement of the club is no grounds for the government to take over. Let me be very clear on that. My point here is that Mr. Goyal says that the government needs to explain to the stakeholders of the Delhi Gymkhana Club what is the security issue. This is where it sets a very dangerous legal precedent. You just had a slum demolition in Bandra, where also a security issue was cited. So tomorrow, the slum dwellers can also say that this is our union. The government first needs to explain it to us, what is exactly the security issue around the airport, around any railway station, and then we'll decide to clear up the land. I agree with Suhail where he says that it's a short notice. Probably that can be extended, and probably it will be extended. That is where I completely agree with Suhail.
Okay.
But there is no...
It is short notice because they've been given time only till the beginning of June, and they've now requested time. In fact, that's a breaking update that we have as well. They've made an appeal to the Modi government saying ensure status quo till clarity emerges. They're also going to look at all legal options. We'll have to leave it at that. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I'm just glad that we are ending with all our panelists agreeing on this, that there is short notice, that there should have been a proper precedent that should have been set with this. The debate continues, but we're leaving it at that. Thank you for joining us. Good night.